excited to see all of you out here working. I would like to dedicate my comments to my good friend Marcia Moody. So many of us loved her, worked alongside of her. A true progressive who cared more about other people than herself and who never gave up on any issue that she thought mattered to the middle class and would lift the poor. So I think she's looking down on us. At her graveside service, she had chosen some poems, and one of them was talking about what you do with the dash. You know, when you put the year you were born and the year you die, and it's what you do with the dash that matters. And we all know that. So I thought, okay, we got this message, Marcia, thank you. Thank you very much for that. So I'm going to talk about Democrats. You know, we are like a great choir, and we all have individual parts. And sometimes we're a little discordant, we don't sound like we're in tune, but we really are. We really are, because we are a great choir. And when we put our voices together for the things that we care so much about, justice, equality, fairness, all the things, we care about our environment, we care about education, our young, we care about our old. When we put our voices together, we make a great sound across this land. And we cannot be denied, because we are speaking for the people of our country and the people of New Hampshire. So I'm very proud to stand with Democrats and say, we have work to do, but we're raising our voices, and we're going to get it done. Now, one of the people who's been raising his voice very effectively is Bernie Sanders.
Hey, down in front. Thank you.
I can sing a praise to Bernie Sanders right now, because I think all of us know that forever we've had these issues that we care deeply about. But Bernie really made us refocus on this and said to all of us, we don't want to wait much longer for this. And he conveyed a sense of urgency on these issues. And I'm very grateful that Bernie Sanders was in this race. I'm grateful that he focused us once again, even harder. He focused us even more so on these issues. And now all of us together have to speak to the country about these issues, and that the time for this change is now. That we need to speed this up. Seeing what we hear from Elizabeth Warren, who has been saying that. And I know that in my very first race, I could pull the campaign literature out from my first race, and all of you who helped me also said the same thing. I said the poor have fallen, the middle class is stumbling. And so we need the urgency of now to be on our part. And I think that we all are ready to make that happen, to speed up the change, to make sure that we really are the voices for all of us and that everybody's story gets heard. So, I'd like to also talk about Republicans right now, because there is a huge contrast there. And it was never sharper to me than this week, when we saw the terrible, terrible tragedy in Orlando. All these statements were coming out about the tragedy, and Democrats were saying, expressing deep sympathy and saying, this is the LGBTQ community that was targeted, and Latinos were targeted, and that this was a hate crime that went beyond what we heard Republicans saying. So I waited for my Republican opponents to talk about this. One of them, Ashooh, never mentioned it. Never mentioned it at all. And the other one, Frank Guinta, sent a message on a robocall on my phone, and it said that we have to watch out now because the terrorists are coming to change our way of life. Instead of saying what it was, he put out one message of condolence, but they will not say who was targeted and why, and what we need to do about this. And so I know that all of us are busy mourning the dead and talking about what we're going to do about this. And that's another reason Democrats have to win in November, because we are the voice for the voiceless, we are the voice for those who are persecuted, we are the voice for those who aren't getting fair economic opportunity. We are their voices, and we have to be present. I watched my former colleague Chris Murphy, now Senator Murphy, the other night. How proud were you? And he had that sense of urgency. as well. No more. He's from Connecticut. He had to stand with all the families that were grieving, still are grieving. And he said no more. And he got the Senate to agree. They were going to put a couple of small bills on the floor of the Senate, but not the House. So we can't pass gun legislation through the House until we change the House to pass gun legislation. And I know that you do. If you believe that this is a great country and that there should be opportunity and a level playing field for all, if you agree with the Democratic platform that we need to educate our young, that they can't come out of college or out of trade school with a debt that strangles them and keeps them from being in our economy, if you agree that we need health care for everybody, if you agree that we have to take care of our environment, that climate change is real, that we believe in the science, if you believe that we have an obligation for people who are older and to people who need us, then you belong in this party and working very hard to make sure that Democrats get elected across the board in November. Will you do that? Let's get out there and talk the message of the Democratic Party. Reach out to the people who aren't sure that we've heard them and let them know we are there, we've heard them, we're listening, and we plan to serve them. Thank you very much.